him that I'm next up, he need to come invest in me. Straight making that money.
Okay, this video I'm going to show you how to replace this inner trunk lid tail light. On the lower trims, this does not illuminate when you hit the brakes, only on the Touring. I got this tail light piece here, and I'm going to show you how to swap them out, put them in, hook up the wiring harness that you need to go with it. Okay, so to give you a idea here, Touring, you can see little holes right there inside the top. That's where the LEDs are. That's the Touring. In the Sport, no holes. That's the difference in the two lights. This will light up with the brakes. This one didn't. Okay, with the trunk open, what you're going to want to do is remove this liner, which is going to give you access to the tail light and the wire harness that goes across, which you can see that comes out here on the side. But you're going to pop this off, get you a trim tool, flathead screwdriver. You're going to want to remove this as well, simply because the harness goes inside of that trunk liner, and then I can see, pulling it back a little bit, that there's some pieces that I want to connect to on that side. So this is going to want to come out as well, which looks like it's only held in. There's a clip here, and there's another one up top right there. It looks like those are the only two, so both sides, same spots, bottom and then up at the top right there. So I got that liner off, and you can see here the harness for the existing tail light, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna want to take the bumper off, which I will have a little blip right here where to watch the video where I took the bumper off in the last one. One thing to note though, to remove your tail light with bolts right here, start there, and then there's spots, bolts inside. There's one here, also the two on this side as well. Oh, and those bolts are 8mm. If you don't have 8mm, the cross reference for that, I believe, is 5/16. Both will take off these, but what you're trying to removing all those bolts, not only the tail light, but you're going to loosen, sorry, I don't want my hand, you're going to loosen this piece, which at these, there's a spot right here, this snaps into that trunk lid tail light right there. So there's two spots where it pushes into. You just want to free that up on here. So part of those bolts being taken off is going to release this part that goes across the trunk. So to go along with those bolts, inside here there's tabs. There's a green one here. I think this brown one might be related to it, but then like there as well, and inside. Use some needle nose pliers. I think would be the best way to get those. Squeeze and just push out, and that's gonna also free up that piece right there. These green ones right here. Well, let me find my finger there. This one and that one. So this one and that one. I had to use two hands using the needle nose pliers. I squeezed on the sides and then stuck my other hand in, and I had to push it up. Once I pushed it up, you can hear it kind of pop and they'll get free. So you do that on both sides. Pretty much your tail light's free. I'm not seeing a reason to have to take off this entire piece across your trunk here. Okay, scratch what I said earlier about not having to take this whole piece off. Yeah, you got to get under there, and if you're going to do the harness yourself, you're going to want to get under here and hook all that up. So you're going to want to remove this entire piece, which once you snap that tail light out, this lifted up on its own, or not on its own, but I gave it a little bit of pull and it lifted up. So there's not much work once you get those 2 green tabs out. But you do want to remove this entire thing if you're gonna hook up the harness yourself, because you have to get behind here. So your tail light's free, and all you're gonna wanna do is lift it and then push in like that. And then that raised up this piece. I then walked my finger underneath and just kept sliding across until you hear it snap out of there. Okay, so now that I got the lights out, both lights are out. So what I'm gonna do is follow the path where everything goes right now and then map it with this new harness. What you're gonna have to do that, if you're gonna choose to do it that way, pop off the bumper. Popped off the bumper, lifted up this cover plate on the trunk. I took out the mat that covers spare tire, and then I popped out the liner. But now I can see where this harness goes. As you saw in the previous clip, I hooked up just enough to see that it works. I did the bare minimum to make it work, so I made sure I hooked up the ground and I hooked up into the taillight piece that goes here to power the whole thing. That's my stock plug. This bottom part of it is from the touring harness. This up top is stock. So my stock only had 1 slot, or 1 plug to 1 slot. This new touring harness has 2 slots. Well, I only had the 1 hooked up and they both fired up and worked. Other videos I've seen of people doing this, or pictures, they have this one, and they have another one right here. And for them, they're coming out with this plug to this seal, and it wraps kind of around here onto the side. I don't have anywhere to connect it to. Now when I just tested mine, I didn't need that. This piece, oh sorry, I picked up the wrong one. This one, actually, this piece, the light worked without me having it hooked up. I still recommend taking off the bumper, even though I didn't need that spot. You might need it. So I'm gonna now that I know that they work, I'm gonna start routing across the top and get all that put together. Okay, so I got the old harness out. I got most of the new one put back in spots. The only thing I wasn't sure about was these two. Since this is a touring harness, it's for the bumper sensors. Well, we don't have the bumper sensors. So what I'm gonna do is cut away the zip tie on this clip. That way it's gonna free up that wire to be by itself, and I can keep these two inside of that seal right there. If I can't, what I'm gonna do then is take some electrical tape, wrap these up about like so, and then somewhere zip tie them so they're away from the bumper, away from getting wet, getting damaged, something like that. For those two that go wrap around the side here that I said come out and go around, that I didn't have a spot for and I didn't need, I guess, I just zip tied those inside so they're secure. I did that on both sides just so they're out of the way and not dangling around. Yeah, I'll get everything back on, replace the lid, replace the lights, and then let's fire them up. So overall, The install process, I mean, it took me a little bit just because I really didn't know what I was doing. The most time-consuming part was getting things like these clips off. Getting these out from the harness and go around in the trunk, and then the clips inside of here on the harness in the liner were actually easy because you can access those because of the gaps in the trunk. It is plug and play, really self-explanatory, I guess, because if you take the time to follow the route that the old harness did, then you can pretty much just map out where you want to go with the new one.
It's all good, no sweat off my back, cause it's just another day in the life of a man.